right, guys, what is going on? What is good? What is good? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, we got 21 people. Nice. Nice. We'll see where we end up here by the end of the session. We'll see. I think the high is still around 80 or 81, something like that. So I don't know if we'll push that today, but let's see where we get, chat. Let's see where we get. What's good? Natasha was first today. Lucas, Marshall, Naruto, G, Felix, Slim, Toby, Nina, Hermida, Convicted Capitalist, and Eberneth. Welcome, everyone. It's been a weird day, I tell you that. Been a weird day, but we'll discuss it. We'll discuss some of the things that I was looking at, and I guess probably some of the things that you were looking at as well. And that's why I asked about Nasdaq earlier. I think one or two of you were short on Nasdaq, and I was trying to figure out what you guys were seeing over there besides the lows. So we'll get into it and we'll figure it out. Good. Crispy J, Edgar J, greetings. In case you did not check the Discord, in case you did not watch the market review yesterday, yesterday's market review was different. It's just a little bit different, where I only had about the first two, maybe 2.5 minutes, and then Libright took over for the remainder of the review. As mentioned in the Discord, that's always been something that I have wanted to do. I think it makes a much bigger difference when students and beginners can hear from other students that probably have a lot more experience or a lot more time than them. So I don't know. I think it's great. What do you guys think, chat? For all the members that have the chat access for today, what do you guys think? Do you want to hear from students? Like, do you like getting different perspectives, different people? Or do you just want to hear from me? What's good, 2020? Happy Friday to you too. Although every day is pretty much the same for me, but thanks. It is all the same. Slim said, yeah, great idea. Hermida liked it. Natasha said, yes, would love to hear from others too. Well, I mean, not from everybody, but from, you know, the ones that have been around for a long time. I'm not just going to randomly pick people, you know? I always wanted to bring guests on, and I was never allowed to when I was in the MLM industry. I was never allowed to do that. And I always thought that was one of the most stupidest rules ever. So, you know, in other words, I'm saying I get to do what the fuck I want to do. It's a long-winded way of saying that. So I like it, you know, and that's it. There's nothing more to it than that. Excuse me. Man, hopefully I'm done with that. Everybody agrees? Wonderful. Because I'm going to keep doing it either way. But it's nice that You know, you guys do agree. It's always fun. It's always nice. I agree, Marshall. It is. So let's talk about the indices today with ES. So what I was looking for today was a stop run here and a potential stop run here. So what happened to me today is I longed just under that low here, and it went in my direction like 11 points or so, 10, 11 points, something like that. That's usually a break even for me. Plus, I wanted to see if we would take these small time frame equal highs. We got really close to that. So I went break even, like +1, which is pretty much a break even. And then so we come back down, it gets me out, and then it runs this low down here. And I'm like, okay, that was my original idea. You know, let's see what takes place. And then of course we trade higher. So that's always nice. Getting like break even and then the market flies in your direction. So that's cool. Did that happen to me the other day too. So it's like two streams this week. I'm like, yeah, I got knocked out before the big move. So better than losing money though. You know, gives me a real feeling of being in a community when I can see and hear other students. Yeah, I mean, it's all about community, man. When I ranted over and over again about the MLM industry, why do you think I kept saying everything they do is wrong? Everything that we did was wrong. I tried to implement so many things and none of it ever got done because it was either against the rules or people didn't agree or whatever. So I'm on YouTube and we have like almost 170 active members here. Like, come on. You know, all the shit that I wanted to do back then, I get to do now. So it's like, it's almost like a big, I fucking told you so, you know? But what do I know? What do I know? Jesus Christ. Why is that like that? It kind of scared me for a minute there, chat. The mitigation down here is another reason why I wanted to long down there. So after I broke even, though I said I would be done, and I was done. I didn't want to lie to you, so I let it go. But yeah, originally these two lows here, anticipating a run on that to go higher. Now, the establishing the low of the day, right? How can we trust that the low of the day has been set? Well, this formation right here, but also because of yesterday, right? So today being Friday, the 14th, right? So yesterday was the 13th, obviously. So there's your 13th. There's yesterday's low, which happened to be during lunch, but that's fine. Still previous day's low. So we trade below that, we rally, and then we go lower one more time. But look at that wick right here. All right? Look at that wick right here on a 15-minute time frame. That is a stop run, right? Not just below Thursday's low, but it runs like a short-term low here. All right? Now, if you really want to, well, if you really want to shit yourself, I've taught you this. I'll teach it to you again. Some of you probably won't believe it, but it doesn't really matter because this is how things work. But when we talk about measured moves, and I put this out in a PDF a long time ago, some of you might even have it. When we talk about measured moves and stop runs, they are usually measured. Okay, so what I mean by that is not for Nasdaq, not for Dow, but for ES specifically. Okay, For ES specifically, the market will typically run 5, okay, 5, 10, or 15 points. Are you writing that down? 5, 10, or 15 points, sometimes 20. That's a pretty big stop run for ES though. Now, obviously there's going to be other factors that play into that, but anytime you have a measured move, this is what I mean by that. I'm measuring specifically 5, 10, and 15. Okay, that's it. There's no indicator, there's no magic, there's no fibs, there's none of that shit. It's just whatever the math is, whatever that number happens to be, minus 5, 10, and 15. Okay. So, you know, people tell me the markets aren't manipulated, and I told them this. Literally, this was like a year, maybe 2 years ago. I was arguing with a guy on Twitter because I'm like, look, ES will do that. And then it did it, right? Like the next day, and I screenshotted it. I'm like, hey, I fucking told you so. And he's like, oh, whatever excuse. I'm like, nah, bro, this is it. This is what the markets do. I don't know what happened to that guy, but we'll never know. But anyway, this was one of the things I told him, right? So we have that formation, right? The low, high, lower, low. Then we rip through that, okay? Running yesterday's low by a measured move. I mean, it obviously goes like 11 or 10 and a half. You could make arguments like, obviously, you know, things aren't going to be perfect, but I'm not looking to just long 5 and 10 points below that. I'm not just going to do that. But knowing that that's there has a very good reason for me to believe that the low of the day has been set, if we're bullish, okay? So that's why, right, these two lows I anticipated as stop runs. I didn't take a before screenshot, okay? I don't think I did. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. All right? But yeah, so low here and a low here. Internal range liquidity, right? And a mitigation. Then we fly higher. All right? What would be another reason that 930 was a long opportunity? If you've been paying attention to the Discord and what I've been posting, you should know this. Why did Nasdaq not get the sell side liquidity? I don't know. It's our strongest index today, so that's probably part of it. Why else would this right here? Okay, I'm giving you a clue. That's at 930. That's a big clue. There's 830. You see anything? Let's go down to a 1 minute time frame. You notice anything? What do we do here? We switched from electronic trading hours to regular trading hours. It's not new. You've seen this before. Why else would this be a long? Made the decision for myself to never argue with other people. I only made bad experience with it. Yeah. Lucas, the Stoics actually did have debates and stuff. They were big on logic, and that's where a lot of our fallacies come from. The ad hominem and all the other fallacies. Just look them up. There's all kinds of videos on them. But that was more so philosophers, maybe not the Stoics specifically. But I know they had political debates and arguments, but they were a lot more constructive They were actually trying to learn, not just prove themselves to be right and then fuck all. You know, people were respectful to, you know, in that regard. They were, it was a different class of people versus like arguing with fucking bums. You're not going to get anywhere arguing with a bum. It's not going to work. But to debate with a philosopher, that was fruitful for everybody because everybody probably learned something in that. Crispy J said the highs are open. Okay, that's part of it. What else is here? So we have equal highs right here, right? What else is right there? What else is on your screen? I posted this in the Discord already, so you should know. What's good, Stephanie? Opening price, that is part of it. I'll allow it. Opening of equities is at 8:30. You're on the right track. So move from left to right. Gap, says Natasha. Gap, says Lucas. Okay, that's part of it. That should be obvious. What else? Again, the original question was, why would this be along here? Right around 9:30. 9:38. Why else would that be along? Yeah, thanks, Naruto. I'm glad you cheated. I'm glad you cheated, damn it. That's all right. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, as they say in the military. There's one low, there's a lower low, there's that third lower low. Right? How many times have I shown you that formation, dude? How many times? How many? I don't know. Probably 20, 30 times by now. It's one of the easiest things to look for. 1, 2, 3. Can you count to 3? Right? 1, 2, 3. Simple. So in the regular trading hours, that's 3 lows. In combination of everything I've already told you, the measured move, the measured stop run, plus a higher time frame mitigation. So you have 3 lower lows, or if you wanted to count the electronic hours as these 3, I won't knock you for it. If you want to count those 3, that adds into everything I've already shown you. Natasha, it's not always going to be obvious. You got to work for it. You got to look for it. Don't force it. You never force a setup, but you do have to do the thorough analysis. And that's why I did screenshot this. I screenshotted it when it was like right here. And I said, whoop. Now we did end up going higher to the highs and then we dropped down. So we took a short-term stop right before lunch starts. And then now here we are in the PM session and we have completed the buy side price delivery up to that gap. See that? What's the close on this candle? 542.41. What's the high on that candle? 542.41. That's called perfection. Yeah. Perfection. I agree, Lucas. But the qualities of those videos are horrendous. It's like 480p or 320p. It's like watching without glasses on. It's horrible. But listening to him, yes, Mark Douglas is wonderful. I would agree with you there. All right. But same thing, SPY 1, 2, 3. Well, this retracement here, that was it for me. If I was doing something in here, and I wouldn't take this because the target that I had was already met. So I would have missed out on anything in here. And I'm fine with that. All right. Let's go over to Nasdaq. So one thing I was asking about earlier was what you guys saw in Nasdaq. And one of you a minute ago asked me why this low wasn't taken. Well, I've already shown you this before, guys. I show you time and time again. Not that I'm mad at you or anything. I'll repeat myself. It's fine. But what's the dealio? That low was swept on ES. That low was not swept on NQ, which means Nasdaq was what? Oh, accumulation. One low, two low, three lows. We trade higher in the pre-market. There's an imbalance right there. What the fuck? There's an imbalance right there. A little bit higher. We leave equal lows behind, and then we launch. Right? And so that's why I don't remember what time I asked, but I think it was around 10:30 maybe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Naruto, if you want to look. Not that it matters, but at some point I asked, like, what do you see in Nasdaq? And I think one of you pointed out 19.5, which is low resistant lows, but that doesn't mean that is going to be on the table for today. Plus, on small time frame, I'm sure you can already see it. We have equal highs up here. So that's why I did not short Nasdaq after a certain point. Like, obviously, if you shorted on the way up, then the highs got created and then it went lower. It's like, why would you stay in a short if you have equal highs and after a new low? Like, that's at least a partial. But I never shorted up in, I didn't short Nasdaq. I didn't even trade Nasdaq today. So I didn't do anything with it. But there's your answer. Okay. This morning in the pre-market, by not running stops, that was accumulation. With a typical formation you see, the same shit I've been showing you for forever at this point. I would use the low of this body here. Low, high, lower low, small time frame stop run. We trade through that back into it here for higher. Okay. So when Nasdaq is around equities open, it's in, well, at least at 10:45 right before lunch, it's literally in between equal highs and equal lows. And you already know how it goes. When price is in between two levels of liquidity, it's a low probability, right? Higher time frame said higher though. Higher time frame pricing said higher pricing, right? ES had something to reach for, because remember, this is that gap here on the regular trading hours, right? Well, at 310 at least. The close of equities is right there. Well, actually, that's all the same price. So we'll just leave it. So there's your answer. Okay. Lucas, how have they been different? How have they been any different? We still see measured moves. We still see mitigations. We still see like the 1, 2, 3 formations. We're still seeing like bullish order flow. We're still seeing the same thing. So what makes this week any different? Not that I typically want to answer a question with a question, but that's it's an honest question of like, what makes you believe that things are different this week? Oh God, let's go back to electronic, because regular looks janky with all the markups on it. Many red folder news with sloppy price action in the currencies. What made them sloppy? Now the euro, I did have an idea on the euro. I think that's right. I thought it disappeared for a minute. I did have an idea on the euro. What was it, Wednesday, for FOMC? I said, oh, we have a gap here. I wonder if we're going to come back into that gap and then launch up here. And we ripped through that gap during New York. We didn't even, I don't even think that manipulated highs either. British pound did though. And that is, I didn't do this on purpose, but I know Natasha asked about the inverse mitigation a couple weeks ago. And I pointed out that this might be reaccumulation during FOMC, and it wasn't. And then price traded into that to go lower. So that's kind of what that inversion looks like. If it's not reaccumulation, stop run in a old level of distribution. So that's kind of a decent example of a inverse mitigation, in my opinion. Cameron says, I don't know why, but it all looks so much cleaner to me when you inverse the chart. Didn't even see the 1, 2, 3 there, but inverse it and it stands out like a sore thumb. Yeah, I don't know. I think some people might see setups better long than short, or maybe even short versus long. But I think that's just a personal thing that people do. Like a lot of my, say, friends, for example, that trade, or they might just have like 401ks and shit. A lot of them don't fully understand shorting. They think shorting is immoral. They think, like, I don't know what they think, but it's like they can't fully wrap their head around shorting markets. And so they're biased. It's like, oh, well, I have a 401k, so I only want price to go up. And it's like, well, that's not how the markets work at all. You know, so it's like, I don't know. It's a very beginner stance, I guess, is probably the right way to put it. Not that I'm trying to offend you, Cameron, but it's just like, you have to look at the market as it can go either up or down, right? So in bullish markets, obviously there will be more up days than down. Or in a bearish market, there's going to be more down days than up. So it depends on, you know, it all comes back to liquidity. Where is the liquidity at? And so if ES had a liquidity sweep and then opposing liquidity, right? If we take everything off here, right? My idea this morning was what? We should run this low, possibly this one, right? That low, and maybe if it extends to that low, right? And then run up to these highs here, because that's what the markets do. Liquidity to liquidity, where the opportunity is going to be in between that. It doesn't matter if it's lower. We were looking for something to go lower recently. I don't even remember what it was. But I've shown you so many examples in the past that I've shown you everything. I've shown you entry models that get you in below lows. I've shown you models that get you in at the low. I've shown you models that get in at mitigations, below equity open, getting out above equity open. Like, it's universal, man. It doesn't matter. You know, it's, if you focus only on longs, you're going to filter out every shorting opportunity, and that's going to limit yourself. And then people get confused why they don't have the results they want. It's like, well, because you limit yourself, you know? So Anyway, what else you guys got? Because I don't have anything else for you today. What else do you guys got? Have y'all been reading? Let's do a poll. We haven't done a poll in a minute. Have you been reading this week? Yes or no? Reading anything. Book of the month, your own books, whatever. I went to a used bookstore the other day. I don't know if that might have been Wednesday evening. And that's why I picked up this absolute brick. The John Adams book by David McCullough. Bro, this book is a monster, dog. Like, I thought Robert Greene had long books. This one is about 650 pages, a little bit more. But it's pretty good so far. I'll be honest. I didn't think I would enjoy history or biographies or autobiographies, but I do. Fun fact about John Adams, one of his first books, like prized possessions, was a copy of Orations by Cicero. You know, honestly, that's really one of the main reasons why I read history about our founding fathers and previous presidents, because I never knew that a lot of these presidents and founding fathers, and obviously other important people, they read Stoic philosophy. They read Meditations. They read Cicero and other philosophers. And that is really interesting because you never learn that in school. You always know like the dates and stuff. Oh, 1776 and July 4th and all this other shit. It's like, it is, I guess it is important to know for sure, but they leave out a lot of the cool details though. What battles on what date and all this shit. It's like, all right, but what do they think though? What do they think about? Who do they read? Who do they learn from? These people founded the United States, bro. That we need to know. And so that's the only reason I read this shit. Catching up on daily laws and daily stoic because your boy's been slacking. Yeah, Cameron, today's was pretty good. Basically, like, don't be too passive. Sometimes you gotta like be violent. So I won't tell you any more Navy stories, but I've done some things in the past. I know I did think I told you guys that story one time about that guy and his pillow. I told you guys that story. When here, I'll tell it to you briefly. It's not a long story. Yeah, it's not a super long story. When you're out to sea and you know, you got a job and shit to do, what they want you to do is like make your bed, right? Now me, listen, I'm like 4, maybe 5 months out from leaving the Navy. We were working like 12 hours a day kind of thing, so like on and off, you know. And I just, after like 2 months at sea, in the 3rd month at sea, I'm like, you know what, bro? Making your bed is fucking stupid. It's stupid. I'm just gonna roll out of bed and go to my job, right? So I was a little bit lazy, I ain't gonna lie to you. But it's like, who fucking cares, bro? So anyway, I did that for like a week or two, and then people finally caught on. So one dude decided to take the pillowcase off my pillow, the sheets off the bed, the mattress, and the blanket, and threw it in this closet. Now, this closet, mind you, was like a lost and found kind of thing. So there's a bunch of shit in there that is dirty, nasty, stinky, fucking gross shit, right? Because we had been out to sea for months, so all the lost and found, you know. Like... So I said, all right, this motherfucker, dude. So I had to take my pillowcase, my sheets, blanket, whatever, go down to the washroom, wash it, dry it. I mean, it took like 2 hours to do all this shit, right? So I could finally go to sleep. So I wake up like the next night or the next day, whatever it was, and there's a sign-in sheet for, it's called birthing cleaners. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to find out who fucking stripped the rack, is what it's called. They stripped my rack. I'm like, who the... I walk in there, I'm like, let me see the list, bro. So I look at the list, and then I recognize like who it was. And then other people told me who it was too. It was this white guy. I'm like, all right, this motherfucker, dude. So the problem I had is that this guy we were in the same department. We didn't have the same job, but we were in the same department. And I said, so you mean to tell me that it was one of my people that did it, right? He didn't give me a call, say, hey, come fix it. He just said, man, fuck this guy. I'm going to get rid of his shit. I said, okay, cool. Roger that. So I went there's a sheet that has everybody's bed and number on it. I'm like, okay, well, that's genius. So I went over to the list. I found out the guy's rack. Sure enough, he was at work. I said, all right, all bets are off. So his rack was already stripped, but he had his pillowcase there, like his pillow in his pillowcase. So I took his pillowcase and I stuffed that bitch at like the bottom or the middle of the what was it, the lost and found closet with all that nasty shit in it. So, and there was like 5 or 6 guys that watched me do it. They were like, are you sure you're gonna do that? I said, watch, just let me do my thing. So I stuffed that bitch in the closet, slammed the door. We all had went to sleep, right? And they were like, you know, this is gonna bite us in the ass, right? And I'm like, I don't care, bro. I'm about to get out today. I don't give a fuck. So then a couple hours roll by, and like 2 or 3, it was him and like 2 other guys came in right in the middle of us sleeping. They started banging on like it's hard to explain. The walls are metal because you're inside of a ship, right? But all the racks and stuff are made of like a very hard plastic kind of material. So it's very loud if you were to kick it or to hit it, right? So these guys come in here and just start banging on all the racks. Boom, 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 waking everybody up. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here they come. So yeah, we had gotten in a lot of trouble. Not really, but you know, they wanted to have like a conversation. They were like, oh, chief needs to see you, whatever. I'm like, I'm in the middle of my sleep. I'll go over there when I fucking feel like it. You know? Like literally I lost all motivation. I'm like, I'm not going to wait on you. You're going to wait on me, bitch, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, I show up to work, you know, a couple hours later, and then I go talk to my chief or whatever. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, and then I told him the whole story, and he was just like, he was like, well, the problem is not that you guys did that. He's like, the problem is this guy cried about it. He's like, he was so upset that he literally was like tearing up and he cried. I'm like, all I did was exactly what you did to me. And then, you know, so my chief was just like, don't be doing that shit, you know, whatever. And so for the next like 6 weeks, nobody, and I mean not a fucking soul, touched any of my shit. I would leave my bed purposely not made, and nobody would touch it. Nobody dared to touch my shit after that. Because I told everybody, hey, look, don't fuck with me because I will fuck with you. Right? Plus, when a guy like cries and you're the one who made him cry, like that story gets around. So nobody touched my shit after that. Anyway, I say all that to say, if you read Daily Laws today, that's what that is. You got to let people know sometimes that you are not, to be taken lightly. Fuck around and find out. And yeah, that was just one of the many things that I had done back then. So yeah, it was cool. But anyway, currently still reading Laws of Human Nature, and it's mind-blowing. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a very long book, though. I think when it comes to trading, it's all about expectations. When you go in a trade with expectations, it will bring bad results because you want to influence the market. Yeah, I agree. The longer you study instruments, you start to see more in your chart. John does repeat instruction, which helped me to see the market better. Nice. Reading a couple books, but pulled out your book to refresh. Nice. Crispy J understands why you lost today. No, that's good. Journal it. And these are the kind of things that you need to do for yourself. I mean, I'll help you, of course. I'm not saying that I'm not going to help you. But I'm just saying, like, you want to become independent, right? And you want to learn, like, okay, what did I get wrong or what did I miss? And these are the kinds of things that you should be doing for yourself. The founding fathers of the U.S., funnily enough, didn't want to let paper money be at any time legal in the future because in their former history, it was the biggest problem in the U.S. Oh, I don't know. Our founding fathers, though, man, they were very pragmatic people. They were very like, we're going to fucking war because you want to give us a tax on tea, Gangsta shit, right? And nowadays we got credit cards with 26% interest and everybody's like, oh, it's fine. No big deal. Our founding fathers would be absolutely horrified to see America today. They would be horrified. Big time. Institutionalization. Man, that's a long word, Cameron. We'll have grown men acting foul. No, I agree. What has government done to our money? Really great history of the dollar. Oh, Cameron, is that a book or a YouTube video? What is that? Oh, yeah, our dollar has been getting crushed for a long time now. That's why inflation is bad. Meaning like in recent times. And so, of course, when the US dollar loses its value, currencies that are weaker than US dollar get hit even worse, especially if that country owes debt in US dollars. Their debt increases, which means their currency continues to take a shit. And you guys should, I mean, as currency traders, you guys should know that. Oh, Hermita said that's a book? Okay. You ordered that already? You know what? Funny enough, I ordered a couple more books from a used website, thriftbooks.com. I used to get a ton of books from there a long time ago. And I'm not sure when I'm supposed to get the books in. It might not be today. It might be Monday. But, oh, that's what I was going to tell you too. This book by John Adams, it's like $7 on Amazon. I paid like $6 at the used bookstore. So it's pretty cool. Fun fact as well, yesterday I wrote an entire chapter. I don't know if it's going to be a chapter for my current book or the one after that if I write another one. But I might see if I can fit it into my current one. We'll have to see. But yeah, reading a lot of this book and a recent read, Right Thing Right Now. I'm almost halfway done with it, right? Ryan Holiday's newest book, Right Thing Right Now, which you need a copy of if you don't have one. That's all of you. Every SMS member needs Ryan Holiday, okay? Reading this one and then also the John Adams one, that's what gave me the inspiration to write yesterday's chapter, beginning to finish, which I usually don't do. I usually work on a chapter over a long period of time because I'll add to it or reword something or, yeah, it's hard to explain. I don't think I'm the best writer at all. Like, I don't think so, but I think you become a better writer when you read better. Book from 1963, it's a banger. Explained the COVID cost of living crisis in great detail 60 years before it happened. You know what? I do touch on the pandemic in my next book as well. You know what? I might even give you guys like a preview one day. Once the book is done and completed and I get it sent to the copyright office, and that can be done in like a day because you can do it all online. Once I send it off to the copyright office and then they mail me back my copyright page and I start, like, I put it on Amazon, I start promoting it, I'll probably read you a couple chapters before the book releases. And that's one of them. One of the chapters is on avoiding the mob mentality. And I talk a lot of shit, just so you know. Like, so out of all the chapters, there's only one chapter that I talk a lot of shit. And the other chapters are like not shit talking. But think about that. Avoiding the mob mentality, right? So what do you think I'm going to talk shit on? The mob is the people who wanted everybody to take the VACCINE, right? Oh, you shouldn't travel unless you get the VACCINE. Oh, you shouldn't vote until you get that, right? And they forced a lot of people, they tried to peer pressure a lot of people into putting something into their body that nobody has any idea of what's in there, right? And so if you were part of that crowd, you were the mob. And you were wrong. You were fucking wrong. And it's okay. We're all part of the mob every once in a while, I guess. But, you know, just think about the various groups that are out there. Just think about it. I'm not going to say names, but think about all the groups out there, especially some of these political movements. Right? And some of them are just fucking weird or just flat out wrong, you know? So I talk a lot of shit about that. And I'm excited. Anyway, there's a huge saying that the dollar is our currency, government, and your problem, normal citizens in other countries. My work threatened to fire me if I didn't get the jabby. Yeah, 2020, that's my point. The military did the same shit. And you know what? The military's eating their foot now because they have to let the people they kicked out of the military for not getting the jab, they're trying to bring back. The military fucked up too. The military fucks up all the time. All the time. They try to be so progressive, they end up just eating their own foot all the time. It's so embarrassing. And that's because I think it's just the way our presidency works. In theory, you could have a different president every 4 years, right? If there's no consecutive, second term. So in theory, it probably won't happen. But I mean, in theory, you could have different presidents every 4 years. So just think about if the policies changed all the time. Every couple of years, things change and change and change. Oh, well, there's free healthcare. Oh, now there's not free healthcare. Oh, well, there's this. Now there's not this anymore. And it creates such a mess, you know? And so the military definitely is part of that. And yeah, the mob's just following orders. The mob just does whatever they're told to do. They can't they don't know how to think for themselves. Or they think that they're thinking for themselves, but they're really not. It's called there's a priming effect. It's in Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It's not his original idea, but you can be primed to be to think certain things. If you guys could help me out here, what's that movie with Will Smith and Margaret Robbie, whatever her name is? And there's that scene where Will Smith is betting with that Chinese guy or Vietnamese guy or something, Asian guy, I don't know. And he ends up picking like number 55 on the field. And so Will Smith won like a bunch of money. Do you guys know what movie I'm talking about? It's called Focus. Is that right? Don't be lying to me, chat. Don't make me look foolish, chat. You're right. It is called Focus. Okay, cool. I just had to double check that. So that's what priming is. Because he played certain music in the elevator. He, just did certain things that primed that guy to pick number 55. But that's a real thing, though. So you might even be primed by certain things that you had no idea. You thought you were an independent thinker and you were actually the opposite. You know? Anyway, the PM session looks fucking horrible. I have no idea what's going to do this afternoon. I like the authoritarian leaders don't have that for you. Yeah, Cameron, you're right. And they know that too. Albert Einstein says, when you want a good life, you need to connect your life with goals and good things and never with other people. Yeah. I pretty much agree. If you don't have a moral compass, it will be picked for you. Just like if you don't take control of your life, someone else will take control of it. It's a real thing. I'm an independent thinker. Really? But you go to work the same time every day? You do certain things to please certain people, like your boss or your coworkers? No, yeah, you're independent. You make your own choices, buddy. You sure do. How many of our thoughts were not inherited by the works, observations, or reflections of those prior to us? Darren Brown has some great shows on subliminal messaging. Well, I think that's a little bit different, but pretty much the same thing. Like Family Guy and The Simpsons and American Dad and pretty much any other TV show in today's world, how they, program people to make men look not masculine and stupid and fat and a bunch of shit. That to me is subliminal messaging. Because they put that in a funny way. Merovingian in the Matrix says that free will does not exist, only causality. Huh. That does sound familiar, Lucas. I haven't watched The Matrix in a while. Might need to watch it again. I think they put Resurrection out on Netflix recently. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to tell you too. Netflix put out, so there's the movie 300, and then there's 300 Rise of an Empire, which is like the second one. And Netflix has the second one, but not the first one. I watched that the other day again. It's decent, but 300 was way better. That whole, this is Sparta. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But anyways, chat. I mean, I don't have anything else for you. You know, just a normal day, nothing really crazy. I think the morning session had decent price action. I think the PM session has been dog shit. We're very near the open of the session. No clear bias that I can really say with confidence. I really don't know. I don't know what this is going to do. I would not touch this. I would not trade this. I would leave this alone entirely. But yeah, make note of what the low of the day was, what the opportunities were. Lunch there too. And where our high of the day is as well. And that's pretty much it. Should be able to have a pretty good weekend. We lost the directors to the Rainbow Brigade. Yeah, that's how Billions got too. Like Billions was such a good show, and then it fell off big time. Like big time. So anyway, yeah, y'all be good, man. Be blessed. I will see you same time, same place on Monday the 17th. Fate permitting, that will be here, and that the power will be on and all will be well. All right. So I will see you then.